please welcome to the floor, Miss Sammy. Take it away, Sammy.
Thanks, Anton. Yeah, so I think I'm a little too old to be cleaning my chandeliers anymore, but yeah, maybe a few years ago. So yeah, we're going to be talking about your why tonight. So I have a PowerPoint brought up here, and I'll apologize ahead of time because I just got done working a 12-hour shift, and it was absolutely crazy. I'm actually glad I got here by 8. I'm orienting, and I was like, we need to give report fast because I need to be at home by 8 on my computer. So anyway, but I'm going to share my screen here and bring up brief PowerPoint. All right. And we'll play it. Okay. You guys can see my slides? Yes, perfect. All right. So what we're going to talk about is your why tonight, like I said. I think that some people aren't muted. Let's see if we can mute everybody. I can kind of still hear some background noise.
Yeah, I can try to do that. I had everybody. I'm going to mute everybody. And then, Sammy, I will give you can now unmute yourself, Sammy.
All right, perfect. Okay, so this whole talk tonight is going to be about your why and about the words leverage and belief, mostly. Okay, we're going to try to get to that whole concept of how to really sell and be captivating and engage people and inspire people to join you versus feeling like you're selling all the time. Because I get that a lot, especially with my team, or even when you're prospecting people, people say, I don't want to sell things. And as all of you know, we don't sell, but sometimes it's hard not to feel like you're selling. So this is, I feel like, is a really good way to kind of help people get out of that mindset of that I feel like I'm selling. So I'm just going to adjust the screen here. All right. So the biggest thing about my kind of, key behind feeling like I'm not selling is getting really deep and clear on my why. It sounds, I feel like, a little bit abstract at first, but when you can really get clear on your why is the thing that you're going to be sharing the most. You really can get into a really engaged conversation about the business opportunity and about the products when you're talking about your why. And so we're going to come back to this slide, I feel. Now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like this slide is kind of one of the last things. So I'm going to kind of talk about the background about why your why is so important. And then we're going to do some practicing. So for people who are not clear on your why, start kind of getting the courage up to talk, because I'm going to get some people involved and we're going to actually do this and get real clear on your why, okay? So, basically, the reason why your why can be so powerful is because it creates that authenticity and the passion and the excitement and the vision that you're creating of why you got into this. Okay, it's all about leverage. You get to leverage everything that you can in this business. It's a people business. It's about building relationships and telling stories. And your why is like your number one story to be able to tell people about why you're doing this and get people inspired. Okay, this is where you get to the difference between selling and sharing. Because when you start to share your why, you're sharing a piece of you, which is why it's really important to get clear on your why. Because when you get kind of like abstract and you're just like, oh yeah, I want more time freedom, money freedom. I want to spend more time with my kids. I want to pay off my mortgage. I want to pay off my student loans. Everyone can relate with that, but it's kind of like this pipe dream, like out yonder. It's like everybody feels like, yeah, I would love to do that, but it's just not tangible. It's like one of those things everybody wants to do, but nobody really knows how to do it. And so people don't really have any belief that you actually have something that can get you to achieving those goals until you really get deeper with your why and you show the passion and the excitement and the vision that you have. Because, as many of you probably know, especially getting into this business, there's a lot of network marketing companies. And there's a lot of people that that are, out there promoting their businesses and promoting their companies. And so when we come in and we're like, yeah, we have something that can, pay off your student loans and I can travel the world and I can spend more time with my family. They're like, oh yeah, I've heard this spiel, before. People, this is what that person just told me that they could do with this business, and so it's not as tangible. And so the whole point of getting clear on your why is to get really to those like heartstrings, that deep down feeling, and getting people to like really connect with where you're going. Because if you have a vision and you know where you're going, people will follow you. But you have to kind of involve people in that belief. So ultimately, people join people, not companies. So if somebody can identify with you and thinks, wow, that Mary Rausch, she's really going somewhere. She's really going somewhere with this. They're going to follow her. It's not going to be because she says that I have something that can do this. It's going to be because they see the vision through her eyes. She gets them to, she kind of paints the picture to be able to know that she's going places and I want to go with her. All right. So where this really gets sticky for me, I feel like when I talk to people about getting clear on their why, is that it all comes down to belief. So if you don't have belief in these 4 things, this is where people get hung up. I feel like this is a huge, huge thing. Belief in the company, belief in the products, belief in network marketing, and belief in yourself. Now, let me elaborate a little bit about this. So what I feel like most when I feel like I'm selling is when I'm kind of having like questions about like, okay, is this product really going to help this person? Do I, like, I know these products are amazing and stuff, but really like, I don't know if this is really going to help them, and all this stuff. Like, what is your belief level on a scale of 0 to 5 on the products? And then the company, I know that gets hard for a lot of new people. How do I really know this? I've only been in this for a month. Like, how can I really know that this company is as amazing as everybody says it is? And so all of these kind of things where if you're on towards that like lower end of the scale on your belief in these things, it comes through when you're talking to people. And it's hard to get really clear on your why, because if you don't have belief that this company is amazing, these products are amazing, and network marketing is amazing, it's hard for you to really truly believe that this is your vehicle to achieve your why. And people see that, like, see right through it. Okay. And then I think the number one thing is belief in yourself, it's awesome because in the industry of network marketing, they say that network marketing is personal development with a compensation plan. And it is 100% true. I can tell you right now, I'm training right here, and I was excited for this training. I was ready for this training, and I'm getting excited every time I do these trainings. When I first started, to the thought of training people and getting in front of people, like, it was just absolutely ridiculous. My heart would race. And I still get kind of red and stuff, but I feel like it's more like passion red instead of like nervous red. But I still was not even close to as comfortable in my skin as I am now. I didn't really know where I was going. I had this thing about like, I wanted to do these amazing things, but I didn't know what it was. And I feel like settling into what I've done with Alpha has really kind of brought me out of my shell, because I know where I'm going. I know what's going to get me there. I know where I'm going. And you get to practice all of these skills. In order to really get good at this business and get good at networking, you have to practice skills that you wouldn't practice if you weren't in network marketing. You become a professional networker, which is a skill that most people have, partly, but when you get into network marketing, it's like actually your job. And so you actually get really good at it. You get to be able to talk in front of people. I really, when I first started this business, did not think that I would be training, did not think I would get in front of people, nothing. Like, that was not on my radar at all. And so it really, really, truly is that. And again, with all these books and these trainings that we're doing, these are things that can apply in all aspects of your life. And so you're constantly, figuring out what I like to say is really important in life. I feel like that is like the key, what personal development is when you start to figure out what is really important in life, because you're not worrying about all the things that aren't important, and you're starting to really focus in on where you're going. So this belief thing is really huge for getting clear on your why and getting to a point where you're actually inspiring people to join you versus selling to them. Okay. So first step is identifying those barriers. And then you're going to try to get rid of those barriers. And so how do you get yourself to a 5 in all of those areas? Okay. So you're turning that I can't into I can. You're really truly figuring out how to get to a 5 in all of those areas. So number one, know it's okay. Because everyone starts out, no one starts out with 5s in all areas. It would be silly. You'd probably be pretty naive and gullible to be at a 5 in all of those areas. It's very normal for people to have, doubts, and for people to have fears, and for people to, not really know and all this stuff. So it's okay that you're not at a 5, but you have to identify it and you have to accept it and acknowledge it, because you can't just tell yourself, oh, of course I believe in the products. Of course I believe in this. You have to kind of find out where you're at and identify those barriers. And utilize your team and your upline for support. First of all, the newspaper is amazing. A lot of people will post different things about overcoming their barriers. And anyone who has done that, kudos to you, because keep doing it, because I guarantee you that there's bunch of people who read that and are like, I'm so glad that they posted that because it's exactly how I feel, and I thought I was the only one, and all of this stuff. You really do have like a support group built in when you're a network marketer. Everybody's on the same page with how amazing this company is and stuff, but we all have the same types of fears. It's just going to come at different points, in our business. And I heard, I had one of our mentors had told us, if you're down, call up. If you're up, call down. And I really do like that. You never want to pass, like, you don't want to call your downline and be like, oh, I'm feeling so, defeated. I just talked to this person and they said no, and I've gotten all these no's and all this stuff. You obviously don't want to call people that you're mentoring to say that, because it's almost like a complaining thing. And then people get on this bandwagon and they're all like, okay, we're just all not going to do something. But when you call your upline, that's what they're there for. They know they've been here. They've typically, they've been in it longer than you because they, signed you into this. And they can offer that support because they have definitely been there, and they can help you work through it. That's actually one of my favorite things to do is people call and, I ask them right away, okay, what's holding you back? And don't be scared that you're going to hurt my feelings. Don't be scared that, you're going to let me down. All of these things, very open communication, because everyone's been there. And so if we can connect with each other and learn from each other, that support from the team and from your upline is so huge. Just knowing that everybody's been there and how we've kind of dealt with it and what's worked for them. And you'll feel so much better too. I remember where I go weeks sometimes thinking about one doubt and being so nervous and gosh, I just wish that this and all this, and you have all of this stuff running in your head. There's no way to get out of that yourself unless you've gone to different, courses and classes and whatever that helps you get through this. But your upline can do that for you. And you can either dwell on it for 2 weeks, or you can call them and be completely turned around in 20 minutes. And that is truly, truly the truth. And if you feel like you don't have really anybody that you can, talk to and stuff, the newspaper, write it out there. I promise you that somebody is going to start commenting. It's going to create this feed, in a matter. It might take a little bit longer because it's social media, but it probably won't, because people are engaged in that. People are watching that. People are commenting. It's awesome. So again, work on yourself more than your business. Utilize all of the trainings that people give you. Read the books they tell you to read. Listen to the podcast. They say that whenever you drive in the car, especially if you have, a 30, 40 hour commute anywhere, Drive Time University. That is what it is in network marketing. Drive Time University. Start looking up those podcasts, start looking up, get on Audible, have those books going on, and just listen. When you're cleaning the house, when you're doing whatever, when you're working out, put in those earbuds and just start listening to things, and just start filling your mind with the positive stuff, and eventually just starts pushing out all of the negative. Okay. Again, get engaged, stay engaged, get on these trainings, ask questions, get involved. And then also don't be a one-woman man band. And this goes back to utilizing your team and your upline. Don't sit and just fester over these worries and these concerns, because I promise you'll feel better if you just say it out loud to someone. And sometimes it doesn't even take them to say anything. Just you acknowledging hey, I'm feeling like this, you'll feel better. And I only know this from experience. So, that is this here. So we're going to go back to this getting deeper on your why, because I feel like we're at this point now. So first thing that you're going to want to do to get really deep into your why is to pick your goal. So this is what you think your why is. I kind of think that's kind of clever because this is what you think your why is. So, spending more time with your family, having, money freedom, being able to travel, that's what you think your why is. But from there, you're going to we're trying to get at feelings and emotions and really getting to a place where you actually feel like it's happening. So from there, what's possible? How do you feel? What could you do? It's kind of like, okay, then what? Okay, then what? So if this happened for you, then what? So, if you could travel to this place, then what? What would your life be like? How would you feel? What would you be doing? What would that open up for you? And so you keep going deeper and deeper and deeper until you feel like you're kind of at a place, and then you try to just go one level deeper. And so I do want to open this up. I want somebody to get their 20 seconds of courage and be willing to work with me on this, because it's really powerful. I've done this with a few of my people in my team, and it's amazing how big of a difference it is. I'll give one example because I feel like that'll help people not be so scared to jump in. So one of my team members, Steven, and hopefully he watches this training, it was awesome. Okay, so Steven's why was, part of it was that, he wanted time and money freedom. He started out with this, he wants, money to be able to pay off his student loans. And then he wants to be able to pay off his parents' house and help his parents out. His parents have a farm, and his dad has this land that he's always wanted to build a cabin on. And he's had this land he's wanted to build a cabin on, but he just hasn't been able to do it. It's actually, his farm is not where he actually lives. It's out in the country. So he's like, every time my dad goes to work, it's almost like he, is getting away, and he gets to, go on his farmland and, work and stuff, but he has a spot where he wants to have his cabin. And so I'm like, okay, what would that do for you if you were able to buy that cabin and help your dad build that cabin? What would that do for you? And so he gets into talking about how that would make him feel for his parents, and seeing his, the smile on his dad's face. He talked about how his dad had this bay window he wanted to have. And he's talked about this obviously extensively, about this bay window he wanted to have to be able to watch the sunrise and all this stuff. And I was like, imagine your dad being able to sit in his cabin and watch the sunrise and drink his coffee in the morning and, all of this. And he's like, and I'm like, how would that make you feel? And he's like, I would feel awesome. Like, I would feel like they're proud of me, And so it gets like, it makes me emotional to talk about it, because it gets like deep, like really deep. So you just keep going deeper and deeper, and you get to this place where you're like seriously feeling how that would feel. So what I want somebody to do is get to that. So I'm only crying because I've worked for like 12 hours. And so I'm like, just like ready for bed. So don't feel like you're going to cry, because you can do this without crying. So I'm just going to exit from my screen just so that I can see everybody, because I can't see everybody. So if somebody wants to, I think I have to. Are people able to unmute themselves to say, pick me? Or if we want to do it in the chat?
What do you need? What do you need, Sammy?
I just need someone to volunteer and then to be off of mute. So is there somebody who is getting kind of stuck on their why, that wants to get deeper, and figure this out?
Come on, raise your hand.
I'll do it, Sam.
Okay, perfect.
This is Tanya.
Is that Tanya? Okay, perfect. Okay, so Tanya, so pick a goal, pick one of your whys, one of the things that you're hoping to achieve with Alfie.
Okay, it's kind of boring compared to what you just did, but it's about the same as what's his name, Scott, whatever, Kevin, your person. I want financial freedom.
Awesome. Financial
And,
freedom.
and I want to help my mom out because she's 80 and she's getting frailer.
Perfect. Yeah. So if you had financial freedom, if you were able to, not worry about money, you had all the money, you could help your mom, what would you do with it?
First thing is get out of debt. That's the first thing. Next thing is I'd start looking for a piece of property here in Hawaii that I want to build my own house on with my own hands.
Awesome.
And then my mom could come live here.
There you go. There you go. So if you were able to, work on your house, build with your own hands, not have to worry about going to work and stuff, and you could just buy that there, you're completely out of debt and you can just focus on that as a passion, what would that open up for you? What would your life look like?
It would be less stressful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it would be less stressful. That'd be the first thing it would be. Yeah.
Yeah, completely. Do you know where you would build this house?
It has to have a view of the ocean. Doesn't have to be on the water. Just has to be. I have to be able to see it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So does your mom live close to you right now?
No, she's in Florida. I'm in Hawaii.
So you don't get to see her often then?
About once a year. We talk a lot, but yeah. So I get to see her more often. Whether she still lives there or she comes and lives with me. Either one.
Right. Perfect. So now you have, your house built, all the work is done, you have this ocean view, and then you get to fly your mom out to wherever you are.
Yep.
And your mom's there with you.
Yeah.
So now what does that look like? What does your day look like?
I like a lot of outdoor play, so it would include a lot of that.
Yeah.
Like on the water, in the water, up mountains, all that kind of stuff. And just doing whatever she wanted to do, whatever she was into. Yeah. Whether it's going and learning how to make leis or work in the garden or whatever she wanted to do.
So if you're with your mom and you're getting to, do different things she wants to do and interact and get to have conversations and stuff, what would that kind of feel like? What would that look like? What would that mean to your mom?
I think it would mean the world to her because I think she's under stress too. So it would just lift that cloud that I think a lot of us are under right now in our society. So it's pretty heavy and it's pretty destructive to our health.
Yeah, for
sure.
sure.
That kind of stress. So I think just that sense of freedom and knowing that everything's cool and everything's taken care of financially. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So if your mom felt that cloud lifted, if you felt the cloud lifted, and you guys were just in that space together and you didn't have to worry, about money and, she was happy and doing the things she loved, what would that mean for her at the point she's at in her life?
I can't get inside her head and tell you what it would mean for her, but I can tell you from my perspective of what it would mean for her. It would, I think, be something she's never had in her entire life, in all 80 years, that she's never actually felt completely taken care of.
Right.
Yeah. So it would be a gift I could give her before she goes.
Right. Yeah.
Huge gift. Huge.
Mm-hmm.
Huge. So
if you could give your mom that gift of, what I'm hearing is just peace.
Totally.
And peace.
Yeah.
If you could give her that, what would that mean for you for the rest of your life? Because, like you said, your mom is getting older and stuff, and there's going to be a point in time where she's not with you. And what does that mean for the rest of your life?
That I was able to do something for her that no one else in her life, including my dad, could do. And that would just be an awesome feeling. Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't think I could top that with much else.
Right. Well, you could pretty much do whatever then if you could do that.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Yeah.
So do you feel a difference with that? Like thinking of that, and if you were able to share that with people and tell them, I see this as a way that I'm going to be able to do this and do that and, have this for my mom and have this for myself and, use that type of language that you just used with us, do you feel like people would be inspired?
Yeah, I think so. Because then they would also, in their mind, they would go right to their why.
Right.
Yeah, whether they even knew they had one, they would go right to their why, and they would go, I wanted to have that same feeling in my life. I want to have that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is exactly what I'm trying to get at with this. Because if you can hone in on that, and if you can share that, there's no way that if you started a conversation with this and you got into this conversation and you said there's something that I seriously feel can allow me to achieve this, that people would feel like they're being sold to.
Yeah, and that would make, yes, that would make it easier. Because sometimes I do feel like I'm selling, and I don't want to do that. I want to inspire people. I think that's what I want. I want to come from an inspired place.
Right.
With this.
Yeah, exactly. So this goes back to that one slide that I had about leveraging your authenticity, and leveraging, your story. It's you, your authenticity, your passion, your vision. How much more of a vision can you get than that? There's no way that somebody could just make that up and share that if they didn't truly feel like that was going to happen, and it was going to happen with this. Yeah. And so that's why I bring up the thing about barriers and things like that, because you can't share that with people with integrity unless you truly believe it.
Yeah, I get that.
You know? Yeah. And so this is really like a true test to, if you can get clear on your why like this, if you can go through these steps and you can get clear on your why, but you still can't share it, you can't get yourself to share it with people, it's because you don't have belief in those 5 areas. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense. It really helps. Yep.
So, unfortunately we can't go through this with every single person and really get all this, but it gives people the work that they need to do in working with, people over the course of the time and over, to identify each step and go that. But I felt like that was a huge aha for me, was to figure out that if I can't tell people, my why, it's because I don't have belief in one of those 4 areas, that I'm not at a 5 in those, and that's what I need to work on. Because everybody has a why, but you have to get to the belief that you're actually going to achieve your why with what we have. Yeah. So I do have one more slide too from here of how to kind of help again with, once you do get clear, how to kind of take it to that next step. So first things first, write it down. And I know a lot of us have heard some of these things before, get clear on your why, write it down, all this stuff. But we say it for a reason. When you write it down, it gets clearer, because you can say something, and awesomely enough, we have this recorded, and we have this recorded for you, Tanya. So you can remember what you said, and then you can write it down. But writing it down so that you can have it to read every single day. Okay? So when you write it down, you're going to do 2 things. You're going to have it so that you can read it every single day, read it out loud, what you have down here. You're also going to send it to your upline and share it with your team, downline team. So upline, downline team. And this can be kind of whatever you want, because I know that some people, have stronger connections with their upline than other people. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the person that introduced you to this. If that person, isn't really in this anymore, it can be, somebody that's above them, or it can be somebody that's, crossline, whoever it is. But they talk about workout partners too. If you have somebody that you trust and that you talk to about the business a lot, and you network a lot about the business, and, help each other out, you just need to send it to someone because of this last bullet point. We talked about how this is your number 1 weapon. What I mean by that is I feel like weapon's kind of a harsh word, but it's your number 1 weapon, because this is what is going to inspire people. This is what is going to get people to want to join your team and to say, hey, that girl has a vision and she's got a plan, and I believe her. Because she obviously believes in herself, and I believe her, and I want to follow what she's doing because she's going somewhere. Or he, sorry. But using it as your number 1 shield is if you have somebody that you trust that has your why that you've written down, when you call them and you're frustrated and you're doubting and you're all this stuff, they can help you get back to that place where you're feeling your why. And so that is where the power really comes in, is being able to get out of those ruts, because no matter where you're at or who you are, it happens. You know, I for sure get into ruts and where I'm feeling like defeated and, you know, I'm not remembering any of the small wins and I'm like, can I really do this? And, you know, all of these things still come through my head. As you get more and more, you know, developed with personal development and you get more skills and you get engaged in the trainings, they come fewer and farther between, but they don't ever go away. Because unfortunately, we're kind of brought up in a society of this like negative, no, you know, you can't do it. You know, you're little and you're like, I'm going to be an astronaut and I'm going to do this. And then you get a little older and you're like, gosh, I don't know if I'm smart enough for that. Well, I'm definitely not smart enough for that. Well, you know, I really just think that I should maybe do this. Well, my teacher said I'm good at this one, so I should probably just stick with this. And, you know, well, that, I don't know. And we get into this place where we don't think we can dream anymore because we just feel like that would be too risky and it would be too scary, and that fear of failure is way too much of a risk for us to actually dream anymore. And so it's really easy to get to the place where you're doubting and where you're questioning and where you're getting those negative thoughts that come in. And also remember that it's not you, that you don't actively think your thoughts. You notice them, so your thoughts are thinking you. You can't stop negative thoughts. They come up, and how you deal with them or acknowledge them or look at them curiously or you believe them. That's the key. If you are having a negative thought, you believing it is what makes it real. If you get a negative thought and you're just like, that's funny, I wonder why I thought that, and let it go, it doesn't have power over you, but it takes practice. And it doesn't mean that those negative thoughts are never going to come. So, you know, this ultimately, why do you do all of these things, is because if you don't even believe in your own why, how can anyone else believe it? And it's all of what we talked about. You have to actually believe that you're going to be able to achieve your why. And funny or not, you know, the more that you talk about it, the more that you write it, you almost like talk yourself into believing it. If you never talk about it, you won't ever believe it. You have to constantly be thinking about it. Just like when you constantly worry about things, those things kind of seem to come true. It's because it's that whole law of attraction thing. You're constantly worrying about it. They say that worrying is wishing for the worst thing to happen. And it's so true. And so again, one way to get rid of that negative too is to just keep filling with positive. If you keep your why on you, you keep reading it out loud every single day, you wake up with it, you go to bed with it, all these things, eventually you telling yourself that, you'll attract it and you'll believe it 100%. And when you're sharing it, especially when you get to sharing it, but you got to get to that belief so that you actually will share it and not chicken out and not share it because you're worried that it actually isn't going to happen. Okay. So I think that we're back to here. So I'm just going to stop sharing. I know that there's a couple things in the chat. I just want to see if there's any questions. Right. Yeah. The tool rather than a weapon. Yeah. I got it from Brian Lyles. So I felt like I needed to share his weapon and a shield, you know, analogy and stuff. But, you know, that's basically it. It's a shorter training today. But I feel like this is really like a key thing to getting clear on how to get past all of those things. So was this helpful for people? Was this helpful? If anybody too, if we want to unmute and things, if anybody has any questions or anything they want to comment or share or ask or.
This was great, Samantha. Thank you so much. This is so important. How people get in touch with their why. So great. Just thank you so much for this great little piece. It's always a pleasure.
You're very welcome.
You know, I think also, this is Kathy Jo, I think also when you go through that process with someone, you not only show that you care, they see you are taking an interest and listening, which is unusual. And I think it helps to set up what kind of a leader and a trainer you're going to be. And then you start going, yeah, I can see myself making it with their help. So I think what you've done is really, really great. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Mm-hmm. You're definitely welcome.
There was something that you had said about it's okay that you're not at a 5. You and what I just wanted to comment is that when you start any job or career, you're never at a 5.
Right.
So we shouldn't expect to be at a 5 or a 4 when we start this if we don't have any experience, especially.
Right. Yeah. There's really no way it would be, almost ignorant to be at a 5 in all of those areas right away. Yeah.
Yeah, Sam, this is Tanya again. I said it in the chat, but I just really appreciate being your guinea pig today.
Oh, you're very welcome. You did great.
I felt real good about my why, but now I feel like 110% now. I feel, it definitely sent me to a new level. So I really, really appreciate being your guinea pig today.
Yeah. You're welcome. You did great.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much, Samantha. Guys, let's stay on course for prospecting and making a list of people you can talk to starting tomorrow. We have so many great tools on prospecting. We have a separate video. Bring up your volumes on your back office through the bedding. It's going to be my first time I'm going to buy the bedding. I have to confess that I've never bought the bedding. Yeah. And when this year came, I said, I'm going to buy that bedding, but I'm going to wait for that 50% discount. And here it came. So now I'm going to be finally buying the entire bedding, and I cannot wait. So I would really get that out to your people. Let them know they have this great opportunity. That video that Brian made on bedding really sold me. So if it sold me, it can sell others. So get that out. And guys, let's keep the prospecting and recruiting going. We'll see you all this coming Sunday. Not sure what we're going to do, but it's always exciting, hopefully, and it's always something to learn. So guys, have a beautiful evening, and thanks again.
Yes. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Awesome job.
Yes. Good
Bye.
night.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you.